Okay, that's a funny picture of me. Hi. Sure, I can try this one instead. Hello, I'm Borys, which you've already heard. And I'm going to talk about what Oscar touched upon a bit. Mentorship. Mentorship in a startup. Do you really need a mentor in a startup? So,
you are right.
You see? And you were wrong. Oh wait, you're probably wondering who the fuck I am, so let me tell you a few things. Serial entrepreneur, founded a few companies, failed 2 first companies. The third one was a moderate success. It got acquired by an American startup called Samba TV, working in TV analytics space. At the same time, I've been building a community in Warsaw. I think I was pretty successful. I built one of the biggest startup communities in this region, which is Reaktor. For the last 2 years, we've been accelerating startups as ReaktorWarsaw, the acceleration program. We're in the 3rd batch right now. And since recently, I became an investor as well, so I turned to the dark side. I invest early stage in very small companies on an idea or early product level, and I'm investing all in Central and Eastern Europe. So part of the reason I'm here is also because I'm looking for interesting startups to put money in Moldova. All right, so let's get to the topic. Do you need mentors as a founder? And it turns out it's controversial. Not everyone thinks the same. So let's see what the big fish thinks. So Sir Richard Branson believes that behind every successful entrepreneur, there is at least one mentor who helped them move forward at some point. Which seems fair, right? Wrong. Elon Musk never had a mentor, and he doesn't believe in mentorship. He feels mentors actually put him back as opposed to put him forward. Fair enough, he still believes founders should solicit negative feedback, but that's not the same as having a mentor. So when I was researching this talk, I encountered a pretty interesting article called The Mentor Trap, which is written by Bobby Campbell, an entrepreneur. And he has some good points of why you should not have a mentor. So let's go through some of those points first before we actually say about how to work with a mentor once we decide to have one. So there is a few things that mentors can actually hurt you with. One is something that's not obvious. When you're running a company, starting a new thing, you want to have smart people on board. And the natural tendency is to ask them for advice. And then it kind of makes it easy to make decisions based on what they say, as opposed to make your decisions yourselves. So in the long run, this can actually hurt your leadership. So you have to know that you're running it, and you're using mentors or advisors only for that, mentorship and advice, not for making decisions. The advice from mentors is often well-intentioned, but not very well-informed, simply because you're the person running the startup. And they don't know everything about your business. So they might have good advice, but they might not know all the details. And finally, something that's, I think, the killer here. There was a story of Steve Jobs, you probably know about this guy, who in the late 70s went to Atari CEO. Atari was a big computer company back then. And he asked for advice. He was looking for funding for his new, interesting new product, which eventually became the Mac. And the Atari guy said it makes no sense at all. He shouldn't be doing that. Obviously, he was from a different generation, and he didn't see what's coming. So if he took that advice, obviously, Steve Jobs wouldn't be the Steve Jobs that we all know. So those 3 points are not to say you shouldn't have a mentor. It just says you should treat those mentors in a very specific way, that they're just helping you, but you're making the decisions. So do you, like you as an individual person, need a mentor? When making this decision, I would ask yourself 3 questions. Do you know everything about your business? Do you have all the required skills? And do you know everybody who can help you succeed? If the answer to any of those questions is a no, then probably you need a mentor. Unless you're Elon Musk, then you don't. So once you make a decision that you want to have a mentor, how do you find the right one? And that's hard. That's pretty hard. Because there is a lot of people, but they have limited experiences, limited time. And a lot of people want to approach the right mentor. So first of all, look for the right skills and network. When I'm saying right skills, I'm saying different skills than you have. Right? If you're a marketer, you probably don't need a mentor who's into marketing. You need a mentor who's into technology. And the network. If the mentor has the same network than yours, that's pretty useless, right? The idea is to use their network to increase yours. The common mistake is to go for people who are the most important person in a specific industry. But the thing is, it has to be a person who truly believes in you. Otherwise, it's not going to work. I've seen this not working because the person, the mentor, didn't really truly believe in the founder. And I'm not saying they have to be a yes-sayer. I'm not saying they have to love everything about your product, but they have to believe in you that you're going to be successful, and they want to help you become successful. And thirdly, you have to admire that person. It cannot be a random guy. It has to be a person that you want to follow one way or another. So those three things to me were when I was choosing my mentors to my startup. Now, how to convince this kind of guy? What kind of arguments do you really have? So first of all, do your fucking homework. Like when you meet a person, then they decide to spend time with you, you really need to know who they are, what they do, what they're looking for, so that you don't embarrass yourself. Otherwise, they think it's a waste of time. You need to know what you want from them. Do you want their network? Do you want them to become a co-founder? Then you're not looking for a mentor, you're looking for a co-founder. Do you want specific skills? Do you want specific business insights? You need to really know 1, 2, 3, the first 3 things that you want from that guy. Otherwise, they also think you're not prepared. And finally, what's counterintuitive, really, think of how you can provide value to the mentor. So you're thinking of a mentorship as in someone is helping you be successful. But how the mentor thinks about it is, I'm spending time with that loser who has nothing. Maybe I'm getting 1% in his company, which is a 1% of nothing, which is still nothing. And so what kind of value am I getting? And the idea is that the mentors actually go after you. They believe you're going to be providing a lot of value to them. Probably not now, maybe in the near future, but maybe even now, maybe even you at this point hopefully have something that they don't have, some kind of expertise, some kind of a network that they'll be looking for as well. So think of how you can provide value and tell them on the first meeting how you think you can help them as well. Okay. So once a mentor becomes an advisor, which means they're involved in your company, what do they actually do? So let me start with what they don't do. They definitely don't do work for you. They're not like a free, non-paid employee that you can kind of give tasks to. That's not what advisors are for. They are mostly doing 3 things. Providing feedback. And this seems stupid, this seems simple, but when you're working on a startup with your team, you are very much into it. And there is a tendency to see all the positive sides of what you're building. You just have this great vision, you have this idea for a great product, and everyone is on board. And then comes this guy who hasn't been part of that brainstorming, and he's like, hey, but that's not gonna scale. I've seen this before. This kind of stuff, it's not gonna scale. What's your plan for scaling it? Or the business niche is the market niche is too small. You have to think bigger. You know, they will provide outside advice from experience, which is crucial, because they'll be the person who you can be actually frank with. Of course, they will introduce you to your network, so hopefully they have a big network. Something that also doesn't go obvious when you're starting a company. Everything's kind of optimistic, you're having this great idea, but the mental issues will come sooner or later. And what I found to be super crucial for the survival, not just of my company, but of my mental health, was being able to talk to people who understand me. And as a founder, okay, let me tell you, as a founder, no one understands you. So, you know, your workers, the people who you hire, are just people who you hired, hopefully are on board, but they're not running things, you know, they have this specific responsibility, but they don't see the big picture. So they don't get what you're going through. Your family, they totally don't understand you. They don't know what the fuck you're doing and why you're doing it, why you're not taking a good salary, nice job in a corporate environment. They don't have a clue what you're doing. So, and the mentor is a person who's been an entrepreneur before, or hopefully is currently an entrepreneur, and they know exactly what you're going through. And the nice thing about the mentors is that you can be 100% frank with them. As a startup, you're not frank with people. You're selling, you're always selling. I'm not saying you're saying non-truths, but you're not 100% transparent. And with a mentor, you can be transparent, and this is really relieving. If you can say what's currently not working, you can say everything that sucks right now. When you say it, it becomes easier. You become lighter, and that's what mentors are for as well. And they give you outside perspective. I think I've touched on that before. So let me tell you about my two mentors when I was running the most successful company, Filmaster. And also the difference between what I call business and industry advisors. So this is Chris. He was my first mentor when I just started. The fun thing he told me on a meeting was that, one of the first meetings that we had was that, Borys, I don't know about Filmaster. I'm not sure about this company. I'm not sure about your product right now, but I think you have something. You're gonna be successful, so I wanna help you get to that point where you're successful. And he was instrumental to my success. So he was the venture capitalist connector. He did connect me to the first big investor who put money into my company. Eventually, he also put money into my company with his investment vehicle. But the most important part was that he was there for me when I had nothing. And he helped me go to a place where I already had something. And then when I started having a product and selling, we had this personalization software that we sold to cinemas to show people more personalized email advice about the movies. I encountered Mark. And Mark, I tried to sell to him. That was how we met. He was the head of marketing and View Entertainment, I think the second biggest cinema chain in Europe, in London. And he loved what I told him. And actually, after the meeting, he said, I'm not just going to buy your software. I want to help you sell it to others. And he was and he still is, a renowned industry expert. He's hosting panels on the biggest cinema events, film events in the world. And he helped me basically become important person in that cinema space. I presented to directors of all the cinema owners in Vegas and in Barcelona. He introed me and he helped me actually acquire deals. I think 4 deals was basically his intros and also his work during the meetings. So those are the kind of guys you should be looking for. The person who will introduce you to, the person who will help you become an entrepreneur, and then a person who will get you into the industry if you don't have all the connections required. How do you manage advisors? They have to be managed. They have to know what their role is. So it's very good to agree on responsibilities first, to exactly know, write it down, like with the founders, like with your employees, write it down. What do you expect from the advisor? What kind of amount of work? What kind of, in which areas do you want their help? And just have it written down. It's gonna be super crucial when you have some disagreements with them, because advisors are just normal type of your business partners. Communicate frequently. Ideally, have regular meetings, once a week, once a month, depending on your, your requirements. But just set up some regular call in Google Hangouts. Make sure it happens at least every month. And what I'm advocating always, full transparency. If you want to get the most out of the smart people that you put on your board, you have to be transparent. You have to be frank with them. Otherwise, you're not getting the value. Okay, so they're not your employees, but you should still compensate your advisors. It's not just your great personality they're after. They believe in you, and they think, your company can be big, and they want to be part of it. So the common way of compensating advisors is through a stake in your company. The percentage of stake really depends on your level, like where you are as a company. Those numbers are more for Europe. In the US, it's more like 0 to 1%. In Europe, I've seen up to 2%, depending also on their involvement in the company. But important part, give them stake early on and make it vested. Make it vested so that they don't get everything at the very beginning. So that they get every half a year or every year, they get a percentage of that percent. This is how you do it with your employees. This is how you do it with your co-founders. Same should apply to advisors. But what you shouldn't be doing is you shouldn't be giving them money. If they're up for the money, I mean, they might be consultants, and that's a completely different story, but that's not the topic of this talk. So advisors take equity, they don't take money. All right, and I got one final thought this is general, not just for looking for advisors. It's generally when you're running a startup, it's super important that the more people you meet, the more people can help you. It's actually a quote by Paulo Coelho. No, it's not. I made it up. But it could be. It's something he would say. It's true, though. It's true. The funny fact is that when you're starting a company, you really have nothing. You have yourself, your passion, and if you don't talk about it, if you don't talk to every person you meet about, if you don't become obsessive about it, you might miss on opportunities. Part of the reason that people are successful is that they are super vocal about what they're doing. And maybe the person you're talking to right now doesn't have the network or the skills to help you, but they have their friends, and their friends have friends, and if you're super passionate, they will talk about it. It will spread, and eventually it will come back to you. So my kind of general advice is that being very transparent, very open in the very beginning of your startup pays off in the future. At some point, it comes back to you. So hopefully you get it. Hopefully you become transparent and talk. I want to talk to you. I want to stay in touch. Hopefully, if you have a startup and if you're looking for funding, I'll be very happy to have a chat with you. I'll be there after the talk. So thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much for an interesting presentation. I have one question for you.
All right.
Let's say I'm a young kid. Okay, whatever. My little brother is like 14, 15 in the audience, and he will need a mentor in a couple of years. Well, where he will find this mentor? Where are the places to look for this kind of people?
So I would, if you don't have any network at all, ideally start going to events like this one and talking to people, not just going to events and sitting here on the audience. Actually come to me, come to Artur, make yourself known, even though you don't know, if you don't represent anything yet, at least we'll remember that this is the guy who was brave enough to come and talk. So first talk, and then there is so many programs right now, like in Techville here, there is like a number of programs, there is so many in Europe, everyone is looking for startups, new founders. Everyone is looking, like I'm looking as well. So come to Poland. Generally, join accelerator programs, incubators, meet as many people as you can. Meet founders, meet other founders. To me, and that's a common knowledge, fellow founders help me the most. Really, not the investors, not the like smart people from corporates. Usually, fellow founders help me the most because they were at my position very, very recently, so they know how it is. They know people help them, so they're happy to help.
So they're more empathic, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have your, you know, they're not looking at you as numbers as the investors would, you know. Oh, you have nothing yet. Come to me, come to me back in half a year or a year. They're like, okay, I can help this guy. I like this guy. I want to help him. I want to intro him to a number of people. You know, he doesn't have a product yet, but maybe at least he can talk to some founders who would be potential customers of this product. So yeah, talk to, yeah, whatever I said. Talk to people. That's the main advice.
Any questions in the audience? Yes, there is one. Please come closer. And please also
Someone's
present
taking
yourself.
my advice. Good.
Hello, my name is Mircea.
Hi.
So, an ethical issue is raised in my mind. Can we consider a business mentor a person who has not a business? For you, like, there are a lot of people who are just selling their products, their motivators, but they don't have their own business. Thank you.
Not sure I quite understood.
So can a person be a mentor if he's a good motivator, but he don't have his own business?
Can he be what?
A mentor.
Oh, a mentor. Yeah, I mean, I've had, if you're an expert in a specific area, of course. If you have a good network, of course. I mean, in my acceleration program, we have about 40 mentors. Maybe 30 of those are current CEOs of companies, but we had some really smart people from outside of entrepreneurship. They usually work with startups or at startups, but you don't have to be a CEO or a co-founder to be a mentor. You have to provide value. You have to provide some kind of value, either skills, knowledge, or the network.
Thank you very much, Borys.
Yeah, high five.